So I've seen a ton of videos on YouTube recently that have been debating the ethics and morality of video game piracy. The pro-piracy side makes a ton of good points, the anti-piracy side also makes a ton of good points, but you've read the title, you know where I stand on this. And in this video, I'm going to be touching on some points that a lot of these creators have missed or barely touched on. I think they're really going to add to the pro-piracy argument, so that's why I wanted to make this video, to really nail the point that, hey, piracy is pretty freaking sweet. If you're on the righteous side, I think some of these points really might convert you to the swashbuckling side, if you will. Okay, so honestly, the best argument you could have for being for video game piracy can be broken down into three parts. I'm broke, you're broke, we're all broke, okay? And before you say get your money up, not your funny up, just listen. The price of a new game is just absolutely way too expensive. Sure, it stayed at $60 for nearly 2 decades, which is a real homie move, but now it's at $70, and here in a few years, I can see jumping up to 75, even 80. I mean, being an adult is so expensive. Like, oh my god, why did no one tell me about this? Like, it's absurd. The price of a new video game is literally 2/3 of my grocery budget for the week, and let me tell you what, my budget ain't that flexible. For the cost of 2 new video games, I could buy gas for the whole month, eat a nice meal at a restaurant, buy some Pokemon cards, maybe even throw a little bit of that money towards rent. Like, there's so much better things I could be buying with $140 than 2 new video games. And like, nowadays, the quality of video games are so variable that I'm not even guaranteed to like those 2 new video games. Hey y'all, I just want to interject here. We are like 300 subs away from hitting 1,000 subscribers. If we could hit that, that would be absolutely freaking incredible. Ever since I started making videos like 14 years ago, it's always been a dream of mine. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop me a little Subway subscription sandwich. I would appreciate that. I would love that. Now back to the video. Bye. I have this odd habit with new game purchases where I'll take the original price of the game and divide it by my hours played to reach some sort of fun metric. So if I paid $60 for a game and I played it for 20 hours, that means that I paid $3 an hour to have fun. That's not a bad deal at all, but normally I like to have it around $1 or less. A game like Skyrim, GTA 5, or even Skate 3, I mean, I'm down to paying pennies per hour to have fun. If every game could be like that, then I wouldn't be sitting here making this video. But here's the thing, as we all know, most new games are not like that at all. Most new games kinda suck, and I mean, to be honest, most new games aren't even finished. Remember Tony Hawk? Remember No Man's Sky? Heck, even remember the first few months of Cyberpunk? Like, I don't want to pay $60 to $70 to buy a game and just be completely unable to play it for 3 to 4 weeks until I have an actual finished game that I can play. Like, what's the point of that? And don't even get me started on full-priced games that come with microtransactions or battle passes. Like, what the heck is that, y'all? Like, what are we doing? I absolutely hate companies that do this. Like, I get it. If it's for cosmetic purposes, like to get skins or different camos for a gun, go hog wild. I'm not going to participate, but let the people who want like a bacon gun to get a bacon gun. But when those microtransactions actually affect the player's skill and ability, like giving them a weapon that free players can't get or special buffs, that's where the line needs to be drawn. Like, it's just unfair. Oh, and just now I completely forgot about pre-orders. Star Wars Outlaws, what, $140 to get the game 3 days early and to get a digital, not even print, okay, a digital art book? I'm dumbfounded. I'm speechless. That is ridiculous. $140 for a game, like, and it's probably going to be trash too. I'm sorry. But the problem is people will pay for it. People will buy that $140 copy. People will buy the microtransactions. So the cycle just continues. So yeah, new games are expensive and they're glitchy and they're filled with microtransactions. Old games can't be that bad, right? Well, they kind of are. Let's say I want to play Pokemon Emerald and I want to play it on a Game Boy Advance SP, one of my favorite consoles and favorite games of all time. But if you're like me, you've kind of sold all your older games to get some extra cash to put towards other things, which is just kind of how it goes. I want to play this legally, so let's rebuy everything. To just get a working Game Boy, we're going to need to drop anywhere between $80 and $100. It depends on the color, which is not bad. That's an entire console, but let's take a look at Pokemon. $200 $. What? Why? I get it's old, but damn, y'all. So to just play one of my favorite games legally, I'm going to need to drop $300, which is absurd. And that's just for one game. Oh, but Parker, that's just the Pokemon tax. It's not like that for everything. Take a look at another game and system. All right, I can do that. Let's do GTA San Andreas on the PS2, another one of my favorite games and favorite consoles. So I'm gonna want a PS2 with a memory card and controller. Right now on eBay, that's around $100, which is not bad. Again, it's a console. And to get San Andreas, it's only gonna be around $25, which again is not bad at all. I can swing that. But again, this is me dropping $125 to just play one game legally. Let me reiterate that. One game. Sure, I could change up my spending habits and save up for a few weeks, but I don't really want to do that. Instead, I can just go on my little website, download my little files, and in a matter of minutes be playing Pokemon Emerald or GTA San Andreas. But Parker, you're stealing something. That's wrong. Well, this leads me into my next argument. Say what you want to say, but downloading a video game is not stealing, though there are some important caveats that I need to get out of the way. Number one, if you illegally download a video game from an indie developer, then yeah, that's stealing. They need every sale, they need every bit of money they can to keep going, so that is stealing. And number two, if the game can be bought on Steam currently, then yeah, it's technically stealing. And even then, like with GTA San Andreas, what if I don't want to play the PC version of it? I want to play the original PlayStation 2 version. What happens then? I mean, kind of fair game to be pirated, y'all. Other than those two stipulations, I say go hog wild. Because here's the thing, any old game that you can't buy directly online from the publisher or developer, you aren't giving them any money. You don't even have the chance to give them money. It's not stealing. Instead, you're giving it to the loser who wants $200 for Pokemon Emerald. By all means, screw that person. You downloading a 20-year-old game that is no longer sold anywhere is not stealing. At any point during this potential transaction for a 20-year-old game, there is not a single time in which the original staff or developers or publishers that made the game are getting a chance to get paid. Like, it's being sold on a third-party market, they will never see that profit. Like, they aren't losing out on anything at all. They already made all that money when the game was originally sold in stores. The only person losing money here is that third-party seller, and you don't owe them anything. They didn't make the game. This is the argument for so many people in support of being anti-piracy. Like, I understand that technically you are stealing something, but at the end of the day, it's not really stealing because these developers, these publishers, they're no longer selling these games at all, so how could you steal it? Even though I wouldn't do it, honestly, pirating games from these AAA companies is honestly kind of okay as well. Like, these are billion-dollar corporations. You stealing something for $70 is not going to make a dent in anything. I'm actually really curious about what you all think, so let me know down in the comments. I'd love to have a discussion with you all. Another reason why I think video game piracy is pretty freaking sweet is because there's so much cool tech surrounding the whole ordeal. Like, there's portable emulators and devices that are essentially pocket computers that can emulate anything from Pong to even more modern games like Helldivers 2. And if you don't want to drop $500 on a pocket supercomputer, there's literally so many other options that can fit your needs. Want to just play Game Boy and Super Nintendo games? Well, there's a $50 device for that. Want to step it up a little bit, maybe get into some PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64, maybe even a little bit of PS2 if you want to get freaky with it? Well, there's a device for that too. And all things considered, the price for these devices is so cheap for what you get. This is my Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. I picked it up off of Amazon for around $175 earlier this year, and I can play anything from like PSP, PS1, Nintendo 64, Game Boy, Super Nintendo, even a few PlayStation 2 titles. Like, this thing is ridiculous for the value you get. It fits in the palm of my hands. I can take it with me anywhere I go, and guess what? All the games are free. And just in case some men in suits are watching this video, yeah, I have all these games in my physical collection. Here's a picture of it. But like, when I can buy a device that can play all these games and more for less than a single copy of Pokemon Emerald, why would I do anything different? The sheer amount of games I've ended up discovering because a paywall doesn't exist to get into these older games is insane. Like, I have fallen in love with so many old titles that I didn't even know existed, and like, it's made me fall in love with gaming again. Like, it's incredible. All these games are on this device. No one can take them away from you unless they physically take this device from my hands, which leads me into my final point for this video. So here's the thing, you don't actually own games anymore. Okay, yeah, you do own games, but some of them you don't, even if you bought them with your own money. Take a look at The Crew. You know, that online racing game that used the whole USA as its own map? Well, The Crew 2 came out and Ubisoft has decided, yeah, we're shutting down The Crew 1. Like, it's gone. You can't access it anymore. Sure, The Crew 2 is probably a better game in all aspects, but imagine if The Crew 1 was your absolute favorite game of all time. Well, too bad. Ubisoft is shutting down the servers, and since it was an always online game, you just can't access it anymore. Remember the original Call of Duty Warzone? Well, their server shut down, and guess what? All the cosmetic items that players bought went with it. Even if I just had $10 worth of cosmetics in that game, I would still be pissed. Like, they didn't transfer over to the new Warzone. These always online games are continuously getting shut down. Now, a lot of them are free, but some of them cost a lot of money, and you know, you don't have any power to keep them alive. It's at the developer's discretion. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games can no longer be played because the servers just aren't there anymore. And sure, like with the Crew and Warzone, the newer versions are better, but what if you just liked the older version better? CSGO. Because these games were solely played through servers, they can just be shut down whenever. All of these shutdowns set the precedent for other games to be shut down too. Maybe not in the near future, but one day one of your favorite games that has an online component to it will be completely unplayable. Usually when you buy something, you expect to own it. You could have it for a week, you could have it for the rest of your life, but you own it. However, with games nowadays, that possibility could very well go away, and it is going away. So yeah, that's why I think it's okay to pirate video games. Of course, there are some caveats, like don't pirate games from a small-time indie company, don't pirate games that you can buy online that still directly help the developers, but like a 15, 20, 25-year-old game, you're not helping anyone. Like, pirate those, please. Like, emulation of those games is absolutely okay. But who knows, I may just be a lawless buffoon sailing the 7 digital seas. I really hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, I would love a like, and if you feel so compelled, a subscription would also be pretty sweet as well. As always, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your night, a great whenever you're watching this video. My name is Parker, and I'll see you next time. Bye.